She's coming gamely. Hysterical Lady gets the lead to Santa Teresita. Grandstand side, Zenyatta. She knows she's in a race today, but just look at her. Zenyatta around the outside now strikes the front. And it's Zenyatta coming away. Music Note running on gamely. Coco Beach down at the rail. Zenyatta's going to come home to score. Undoubtedly now. A living legend. Zenyatta 9 for 9 wins it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the countdown to the Cup. And Frank Miramati, her undefeated run continued in the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic last year to end out 2008. It has not changed in 2009 for champion Zenyatta as she heads into yet another Breeders' Cup here in Southern California.
One close call at Del Mar, but she was able to get up, and that's what champions and winners do. And now the big question, will Zenyatta go after the girls in the Ladies' Classic or take on the boys for the first time in her career in the Breeders' Cup Classic? And that's a question that is yet to be answered.
And a question that you and I maybe not will be able to answer, but we'll discuss a little bit. Let's take a look at what's coming up on Countdown to the Cup over the next half hour. Stay with us and you will see the Breeders' Cup Ladies' Classic conversation. Grade 1, Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Grade 1, they're all Grade 1s, you know that. And the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies as well. And then the Breeders' Cup Classic and the dilemma, if in fact it even is one, Frank, for the Breeders' Cup Classic versus the Breeders' Cup Ladies' Classic for Zenyatta. And speaking of the Breeders' Cup Ladies' Classic, Friday, November 6th, part of the Ladies' Day card, even though this year the Breeders' Cup Marathon has been moved to Friday's action. Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Ladies Classic, fillies and mares 3 and up. And here are the division leaders, including Careless Jewel, red hot 3-year-old, a winner of 5 straight.
And she has done a magnificent job for trainer Josie Carroll. Coco Beach, who really hasn't duplicated the fine form that we saw last year, but certainly one that you have to always respect. And of course, the big mare on the bottom, Zenyatta, is the leading candidate, of course, for this race.
We are now going to take a look at the Ladies' Secret Stakes, and this from October 10th of this year. Coming back off a layoff, she hadn't been out since August 9th and winning the Clementelle Hirsch, but came back at 1 1/16 to capture the Grade 1 Ladies' Classic.
And ask Zenyatta to go, and just look at her go. Zenyatta strikes the front, just playing with him here. He is going back and forth, and it's Zenyatta, lethal heat running on at the rail. But Zenyatta with condescending ease wins it only a length, but so easily.
Maybe I'm looking ahead to the Ladies' Classic. It was the Ladies' Secret Stakes that Zenyatta came back off the layoff to win most recently. And some folks wondering, well, is she going to be sharp enough? Is she going to return the same? There's absolutely no question yet. Yes, she was the same, maybe even better.
She's on the top of her game, and there is another filly in this race that is on the top of her game right now, and that's the 3rd place finisher from last year, and that is Music Note. She finished 3rd to Zenyatta in this race a year before, but she's now older. She's 4. She was basically a head away, literally, from being named the 3-year-old champion last year, and Godolphin Stables had a phenomenal run. Music Note will try to give Zenyatta everything she can handle.
Well, even though she was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Ladies' Classic at Oak Tree last year to Zenyatta and Coco Beach, she seems like a New Yorker through and through. All starts, except for that one here at Oak Tree, have been in New York, whether it's Belmont, Saratoga, or even Aqueduct, where, in fact, she broke her maiden November 1st of 07. For more on Music Note, let's catch up on this Breeders' Cup profile.
Music Note set down for the drive, and here they come into the stretch. It's Unbridled Bell and Music Note. Unbridled Bell and Music Note. Unbridled Bell, the 2007 winner of the Bell Dame, overtaken by Music Note. Music Note will be the winner of the Bell Dame in 2009. It is Music Note. A few anxious moments down that backstretch run. Once she got the run, she got the daylight.
Music Note is one of many Breeders' Cup contenders from the well-heeled Godolphin barn. She joined stablemate Cocoa Beach as Godolphin's 1-2 punch in the Ladies Classic division.
It's the big race, the win of the year for older female, so and she's done everything right in her races up to the Breeders' Cup, so let's hopefully keep it going.
Music Note comes up to championship weekend off a pair of Grade 1 victories, and she boasts 5 career wins in Grade 1 company.
She's done great. She's a little slow to get going this year. She had a few problems early on in the spring, and she was a little disappointing in her combat race in the Ogden Phipps, but she kept improving and improving after that, and fired a huge race in the Ballerina where she was very impressive. And then she came back to win the Beldame the other day, impressively too. So, I mean, her campaign's been geared more around the Breeders' Cup this year. I mean, this was the ultimate objective for the season with her, and very happy how everything's gone with her.
And that's today's Breeders' Cup profile.
Well, Frank, Music Note with those 2 wins, one at Belmont most recently in the Beldame, and before that a very nice win as well in the Ballerina at Saratoga. So 2 Grade 1 wins for Music Note off the layoff. Coming back with that first start of the year was maybe obvious, well, not obviously her best start, and just needed that start under her belt.
Nice to see that the daughter of AP Indy was able to fight back after that with 2 very convincing victories, and she will give Zenyatta as much as Zenyatta can handle. Zenyatta's answered every test. This is her home track. If she runs in the Ladies Classic, she will deservedly be a very heavy favorite, but I believe Music Note will run another big race here for the end of her 4-year-old campaign.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Countdown to the Cup as we continue on with a look at yet another division. How about the juvenile division? And we will take a look at some of the particulars here, Frank. This one will go post-sprint on Saturday, November 7th. Colts and Geldings, 2-year-olds after $2 million at 1 mile and a 16th.
And we just talked about perfection in the distaff division. Well, there's another horse looking to complete his campaign on a perfect note, and that is Looking at Lucky. Looking at Lucky has won all of his starts, and he hasn't done it by much, but he's done it very professionally, and he's growing into the role as your heavy favorite for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
And we're taking a look now at the Norfolk, the most recent start, and his 2nd consecutive Grade 1 win.
Looking at Lucky in full flight for the wire. Young man Scott is running on late. Gallant Jen starts to come back at the rail. Polshan is running on late. Looking at Lucky now, desperate to hold on, but he's doing so tenaciously. And Looking at Lucky, all heart has won the Norfolk. Polshan was second.
And Frank, what a year. I mean, it's been for Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert, his Hall of Fame induction. He has been absolutely on fire with his runners. And this one, Looking at Lucky, is seen really by a lot of people as one of the best bets on the card, or certainly one of the most certain bets on the card, even though nothing is certain. Looking at Lucky is going to be a really short price.
May Foal, and when this horse was working in May, Bob actually said this was his Derby horse. He knew it before he had ever made a start, and that's what a great horseman is able to see. And Looking at Lucky won his debut. It certainly wasn't his game from the standpoint of his distance, but last time out, his first trip around 2 turns, he answered the bell. In mid-stretch, there was that moment of a couple seconds when Garrett Gomez had to go to left-handed whip just to kind of remind him, keep him focused, but he really did handle the competition rather comfortably, and he can only improve, because you know one thing, when Baffert is pointing for a race, the improvement is going to be significant, and that's what we can expect from Looking at Lucky, to just let it all loose come Breeders' Cup Day.
Well, now it's time to talk about the U.S. versus the world, and it's not necessarily the division that we talk about this normally, the Breeders' Cup Juveniles, but in this case it is. Representing the United States at least this point in time, Aspire, DeFunny Bone for Rick Dutrow Jr., Looking at Lucky, just saw that one for Bob Baffert. And then Noble's Promise as well, who came up with a big win just a couple of weeks ago.
And then you see the rest of the world coming in with Alfred Noble, Awesome Act, Beethoven, and Radiohead. Frank Lyons touching on Radiohead coming in for IEAH Stables.
All right, so that could be